presents exciting new opportunities for the investment-minded, but it's also volatile and accelerating in complexity. That's why we created Token Metrics, an intelligent crypto platform backed by an industry-leading combination of data, AI, and media that feeds optimized portfolios to crypto investors. Featuring Token Metrics ratings to help you find the best investment opportunities in real time, an indices page that showcases various model portfolios, and deep insights into price predictions and technical analysis. Plus, with access to Token Metrics TV, monitor 24/7 exclusive crypto news and analysis. Whether you're a first-time trader or a seasoned crypto investor, you can stay informed and in control, backed by your all-in-one crypto companion, Token Metrics. Take control of crypto today at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. The market update is back. I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you need to know where the bottom is, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works out for you, please drop a like. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com, the premier research house in crypto. Now, let's welcome and see who's on the stream today. We've got Ali first on the stream from London. Welcome. Soli Sol is here. Paco, good evening. Space Cowboy, Chris is here from Australia. Pat, hi. We have Odin from Timbuktu. Aiken with the notorious love. Thank you. We have Atlanta. Flipped Burgers here from Kentucky. All the regulars in the house. Amsterdam, right? Ethiopia is here. California, Nevada, Arizona. Reverend Flashback goes, Bill, we've been waiting for hours. Don't worry. We're going to have crypto news, 3 Hours Capital, M1 Finance, okay? Plus all the crypto news that you need, along with Bitcoin, Ethereum price predictions, and where to buy. The crash, the final leg of the crash is coming, and I am finally going to start trying to tell you where to buy. So if you need news and where to buy, don't go anywhere. Manchester, England, right? Nairobi, Australia, okay? Crypto Fish wants to know what crypto corpse are we identifying today? Spain, Chicago, Brazil, Netherlands, North Carolina, New York, right? Greece, right? Germany is here, along with New York and East Tennessee. All right, people, I'm jumping straight into your market update. Okay, let's start with the news. Online brokerage firm M1 Finance to launch major crypto trading accounts, right? So a U.S. brokerage firm, M1 Finance, is going to roll out crypto trading. Why? Well, people may not trust existing players because they've had outages. So, hey, why not trust a new player? Okay. M1 Finance is known for pie-based investing, where users create portfolios and pre-built portfolios for those who are lazy. So in other words, it's a path for people in legacy to get into crypto, right? Value investing. All right. Now, just to go over to 3 Arrows Capital, right? Founders of bankrupt crypto hedge fund, 3 Arrows Capital, go missing. Remember when I talked about men behaving badly and you're like, Bill, I don't really understand what that means. Okay, this is what it means, right? Somebody was super naughty, took risks that they shouldn't do, and now they are walking as creditors go to recoup assets. Okay, now on Twitter, okay, we have 3 Arrows Capital owns warrants, okay? The ability to convert tokens at a set price. So 3 Arrows Capital owed people tokens. Some liquidator now controls 3 Arrows Capital, and there's like a deadline on these things. And what happened? The deadline passed and no tokens for creditors. So as these things become known, they can create volatility. As we find out where the toxic positions are, in other words, like this tweet, who's winning, who's losing, right? The liquidators, that's the people who are unwinding the positions. There are the creditors who are standing there going, am I going to get any money? As we learn about how these players, like who's going to get paid and who's not, it can offer clarity, right? Now that can tank the market initially, but I believe that's going to be a buying opportunity, believe it or not. So I almost titled the stream are we doing Rectember now? Right? I'm wondering if there's going to be one final heave around CPI and the Fed. Stay tuned for those charts. Okay, GameStop opens Ethereum marketplace following company-wide layoffs. So it's really funny that it seems like in the crypto industry, on one hand, people are diving in deeper as they simultaneously panic and lay everybody off. So it's like people want into crypto and into NFTs. And I do believe if there is the market bottom in July or August that I'm looking for, that's going to be a massive bottom in NFTs. So GameStop is simultaneously panicking, okay, and getting deeper into crypto at the same time. Now, just as a reminder on macro, I wish more people were up right now to see this, okay, because this is Sri Lanka. And because people can't get food and energy, they're rioting. A government has fallen, right? Look at the number of people in the street. A government has fallen because of inflation and like macro tensions. Now, when you see this, this is really being caused by Fed, not only the food inflation, but Fed rate hikes. In other words, the Fed is looking at this video going, wow, if we continue to slam on the brakes hard, how many companies or countries could blow up? So yes, this is about food and energy, but I would imagine something like this has definitely got the attention of the Fed. Now, speaking of people rioting, citizens storm a bank in China over frozen assets. And you're like, wait a minute, are we talking about a crypto hedge fund? And I'm like, no. We're talking about the Chinese banking system, the one that's hyper leveraged to real estate. Chinese banks are turning people away. So we've got a Celsius going on in China with real banks. And as you can see by this video, you can tell how happy people are about it, right? The world, the legacy world, is falling apart because of food inflation and Fed tightening. So yes, this may create a huge heave lower in the short term, particularly if the inflation number is bad. But things have now gotten bad enough, right? Remember, there's something out there and it ain't no man. 3 Hours Capital. Governments falling because of inflation and people rioting because banks are failing. The negative news is known, and it may be known enough that the Fed, say over the next couple weeks, has to back off. So that's why I'm pivoting. Yeah, there's going to be another leg of this crypto crash, I think, right? But that's going to be a buying opportunity when it's all said and done. Okay, now, so this is M1 Finance, right? That's adding stuff to, again, Twitter accounts. I'm sorry. That's M1 Finance adding to their portfolio offering. Now, let's go to your market update, the chart version, and let's talk about the charts and see if Rectember is in fact happening as we speak. In other words, with all this news, right, is it possible that we're in the final puke, right? That the final puke to say 16K Bitcoin or 895 Ethereum is about to unfold? And if so, what should you do? What should you buy and where should you buy it? So don't go anywhere. And if you like this content, please hit that like button. Now let's talk about the dollar. recently I've been a dollar bull throughout all of this year. Okay. And lately I've been questioning that because everybody's a dollar bull now, right? It's like it's known. How known? Well, this is Barron's, a very famous Wall Street news publication. And they're like, the euro is on the verge of dollar parity. That means the euro is heading for a historic moment where $1 equals €1. Okay. Normally the euro is worth a little more, but the euro has fallen to where $1 is close to €1. And now it's a sensational media headline. The euro on the verge of parity. It's a story of the greenback and all the reasons why the dollar is up or going up. And I'm like, dollar bullishness in the media. Do we want to continue to be dollar bullish when the media is dollar bullish? I don't think so, to be completely honest with you. Now, this is an 8-hour chart of the dollar index. The dollar index blew through one resistance point I had at 107, and now I'm looking at 108. And honestly, I just can't believe with the bullish sentiment in the dollar, right? If the inflation number, I don't even care if the inflation number is bad. If it's bad or if it's good, I think people are going to look at it as a top in inflation, particularly since oil is falling out of bed. More on that in a minute. Okay, this dollar trade, in my opinion, is overdone. If they try to take the dollar up again and Bitcoin heaves to 16K, or there's a 3 hours capital liquidation event or something like that, okay, that's going to be an opportunity. So I don't know if you're buying at 19, but I know you want to start the DCA process near 17. It's probably 17, 16, 14, 12, right? For a mega rally that lasts anywhere from 1 week to 3 months. That's the general plan. Okay, let's talk about bonds, right? Rates down, bonds up. Notice the green candles over here in bonds. Notice a nice bump and run off a very outside the box trend line. And I'm wondering if we have seen the lows in bonds. So I guess we'll find out when the inflation number comes out tomorrow. Kind of a smart ass move on my part by putting this in here. But the bottom line is, if bonds start to go up, right, and the dollar starts to go down, that's going to leave room for crypto to go up. We just don't know if there's going to be one last heave in crypto. Okay, let's take a look at oil. Oil is probably going to hit 95, and it could break down and go to 85. A lot of people were thinking oil to 160, as was I. Okay, this could be because economic growth is falling out of bed. So even if the inflation number and the Fed talks tough, right? Sometimes when they talk tough or they tighten right at the end of a cycle, a tightening cycle, the market is already looking for slower growth in the future. This is what I think helps create a crypto bottom. So it's a question of how that inflation number comes out. Does everybody get hysterical and sell stocks and bonds? That's possible, right? I think it's likely. But the reality is economic growth is probably going to implode soon. That's the message of Sri Lanka. That's the message of oil. Okay. So I think they're going to kill crypto, but I think this time, instead of like short it, it's going to be, where do I set up my DCA? Now, let's talk about the ugly truth about ETH. All right. This is actually ETH dominance, which is really interesting. So it's a different angle on charting ETH. So as you can see, ETH dominance waterfalled in May after selling May and go away. It bounced for about a month, right? The Williams oscillator looks just like it did back in May. And this looks like a liquidation event where ETH dominance is going to fall below 14% and make a new low, which is not good, right? But I don't know if the trade is to be short. Maybe it is. Should you be short at 1100 looking for 870? Okay, yeah, maybe. Or is it better to start adjusting your head? Remember when I said, I want you to have a clear head. I want you to be out in May. Well, maybe this is it. Maybe this last final puke is where your peace of mind comes into play. Because if they annihilate this market to a new low, if ETH dominance collapses back where it was, okay, I want to be a buyer, believe it or not. Okay, I'm going to risk that Rectember is now. Okay, let's take a look at the ETH weekly chart. So there's a couple levels. There's 1150. So ETH couldn't stay above that. We talked about that last week, right? And then there's also support at 926. So those levels, it seems like the 1150 number matters more. Just as a reminder on Elliott wave, okay, you know, ETH is due for a wave 3 down that's going to go below the previous low. So you could be talking about 890. I don't know what it looks like when ETH makes a new low, but I know that like 950, 900, 850, and 750 is probably where you want to start collecting. I mean, again, it's a bearish wave read, but the question is, when it goes down, are you down there with capital? Okay, that's the question. Now let's take a look at important token metrics, quant and AI-based support levels. The best support levels are the ones you can't see. So if you're a token metrics subscriber, you can check this stuff out for all the coins that we have data for. 1050 is a key level in ETH, right? So it failed at 1208. 1050 is now support. Now, what happens if 1050 doesn't hold? The next level is 894. Okay, now I don't know what's below 894. The GAN point I have is 750. Okay, the bottom line is below 900, I think a DCA process can get started. That's going to be the liquidation event. Now, Bitcoin, there's resistance at 20,100. I think Bitcoin's going to try to get above 20K, and I don't think it's going to work, right? I think there's Bitcoin out there that's going to need to get sold. And if there's no Bitcoin bottom, like off the inflation number, right? In other words, it's either going to bottom at 20 and that's it, or there's going to be one final puke to 16. The Elliott wave work suggests that you're going to see 16. And if so, you know, are you buying 18, 16, 14, 12? Right? Just like closing your eyes and just letting it fall into the bucket. The idea is down, buy it, and V bottom up. Okay, I have a scenario from 2014, which I'll show on tomorrow's stream, so stay tuned for that. Right? The bottom line is down and then up. So if you look at the DeMark work on Bitcoin, 16K is relevant. 16K is a DeMark-based support point, and 15,800 is an AI-based support point. So you got, I don't know, you got 3 or 4 different models telling you that 16K may be a really good support point if it breaks below 19,300. So if it breaks, it's going to break hard. If it breaks hard, when it gets to 16, I think that's the buy zone. Now let's take a brief look about dollar cost averaging. So I've been comparing Coinbase's stock to Ethereum. I've been comparing Marathon Digital to Bitcoin. I did a little bit of gymnastics with this on Friday and got caught. So I'm going to go back to what I was originally doing, right? So if you compare Coinbase to July of last year, right, if ETH matched up with that, ETH should be at 980. Okay, if Bitcoin matched up with where Marathon Digital, a Bitcoin miner, is trading, it should be at 18,000 even. Okay, so Bitcoin's got a lot of room to move lower, and, you know, so does ETH. Okay, but when it goes down, it's going to go down violently. But the point is, I want you to be there to buy, because it can turn around and go back up the same way it went down. So everyone's talking about dollar cost averaging. I think you start the dollar cost averaging when Bitcoin gets to, like, say, 18K. Now, what is my guilty pleasure? My new guilty pleasure is Zcash. In my opinion, this is the next 100x. Actually, I think it's more than that. Okay, you are not going to do a transaction in the metaverse in a currency where someone can look at your wallet and see how much money you have, period. Privacy will not be for pirates on the next cycle, right? In other words, everybody is like coins for the next cycle. Okay, I'll give you a coin for the next cycle. I'll give you a coin for this cycle, Zcash. Now, right now, Zcash, along with everything else, is getting destroyed. Zcash has to move a proof of stake in order to scale, right? I got into this after hearing Edward Snowden at Consensus. Bottom line is, I think there could be a Zcash bottom at 33. So right now it's at 54. And if there is a huge heave lower in the market, I'm looking to get involved. I'm buying Zcash at 33. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Now, also in Zcash, I noticed the post-COVID buy signal from our AI models. So COVID came out, the market dumped, and then when the market turned back up, the first post-COVID buy signal in Zcash was at 35. Okay. So the bull market was born at 35. The bear market ends at 35. Now, I'm wrong one of two ways, obviously. Either the market goes up from here or the next dump is so violent, it's July, August, and September, right? I'm changing my mind. I'm not as sure about September because I thought the market was going to go down over July 4th. And that changed my Gann timeline. So it may be the case that there's going to be one final heave off CPI and the Fed, right? Inflation and Fed tightening is going to wreck the economy, which is going to cause the Fed to eventually back off. When that expectation, keyword, when that expectation surfaces, okay, crypto is going to moon, right? And especially if we can get, if there's a liquidation event before those expectations change, this could be a very, very big opportunity. It's like you could make your year. Remember when I'm always saying, I want you to have a little money left. I want you to have something. You know, you can buy one Zcash for $35, not investment advice, right? If you got $35, you can get a Zcash, right? Have something ready. Don't forget, folks, research.tokenmetrics.com is a website that is up and running. Okay, so if you want research, right, we're there for you. And we got free articles, and I think you can read 2 premium articles per month. So come check us out. Come subscribe, right? Who do you trust? Who do you trust in crypto to give it to you, tell it to you as it is? Now let's sum up. Okay. Last week, I got caught drinking the bullish Kool-Aid. I thought there was going to be a summer rally. I should have known. Somebody commented that when all of YouTube is bullish, get out. Right? Just get out. So now I'm more of the mind of, all right, the summary is it can go down. It can go down hard. It's probably going to, particularly if ETH can't get above 1125, right? Once ETH rolls over from 1125, if that happens, the downside targets can be 900 or below. For Bitcoin, it could be 16K. If you want to be a short seller, you want to play it that way, fine. But the way I want to play it is I want to let it go down. Let it head for 16K and dollar cost average when it's down there. All right, so that is your market update. Let's see what other goodies I got here for you. Okay, let's take a look at some token metrics grades. So it's a little early, and I don't mind being a little early, but let's just take a look at our spreadsheet, right? Where we look at tokens that are moving, right? The grades are moving. So don't curse me off. Perpetual protocol, perp, right? Shot up. The grade went from 38 to 62 because perp went up 26%. Okay. On KuCoin, you had Go Money, Sky Network, TrueFi, and Router Protocol, right? On Kraken, you also had Serum, and I noticed Loopring is in there, right? I noticed that I think our fundamental guys really liked Loopring. Now, let's go over here and let's check something out on our market page. Okay, I want to show you something that I think matters now and is going to matter more later when the market goes down. Now, this is called sector analysis. So we have this markets page that has all this stuff on it. We have sector analysis. And notice the token metrics grade in the yield farming sector has actually gone up. Why? Well, I'm guessing because people are switching from CFI to DeFi. People have to do DeFi. They have to. We're also noticing that exchange-based tokens are going up as well as derivatives. Interesting, right? In other words, hedge funds can never get caught. They can never get caught with money on centralized exchanges or they're fired, right? So here I'm looking at GMX. We were looking at DYDX last week, okay? GMX has a buy signal. It's dipped. So it'll be interesting to see if it holds, right? And, if I can move the support and resistance lines around, the next big support and resistance line looks like 29. That's the level it's got to get above to really get busy. Okay, 29.05 there in the corner. So it hasn't gotten to resistance yet. Let's just check DYDX. Talked about DYDX and API 3. I'm pretty sure I got hosed in API 3, but for DYDX, it's down a little bit today, not much, okay? But I just get this feeling that people are switching, institutions are switching into decentralized derivatives and decentralized exchanges. So there's the buy signal at $1.94 on July 7th. DYDX is currently at $1.80. The buy signal is holding. And, the upside target in DYDX, the next resistance point that I see here, I see 436. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that I can locate. Okay. Now, I don't want to shill any one particular altcoin because I do think the market can go a lot lower. Okay, but if there are dip buyers in DYDX and the market doesn't go lower, this is the stuff to grab. So I know that's a lot of ifs, but when this is over, decentralized derivatives are coming back. They're coming back with a vengeance. So when you get a token metrics subscription, you're going to see what sectors are moving, right? Whether it goes to 16 or the bottom is closer. Okay. Okay. Somebody wants to know, when are they going to stop killing gold? You know what? The answer to that is the day the Fed has to pivot, right? So the inflation number may be terrible. When you look at what's going on in Sri Lanka, when you look at Chinese banks failing and oil crashing, gold goes up the day the Fed pivots. That's when Bitcoin goes up. Actually, I think Bitcoin is going to go up before that. The only problem is there may be further liquidation. Okay. I know the perp chart is killing you. I know perp killed me too. It broke my heart. Okay. Somebody's asking about XNO. Okay. We'll take a look at that. Let's take a look, see what's going on in XNO. Nothing wrong with looking at the future of money. Okay, so XNO on a 4-hour chart. Pretty complicated with that spike up to actually get a read. Okay, so here we are in DeMark land. Let's check XNO over here. Okay, so here's DYDX on a 4-hour chart, right? A lot of times it's awesome when it moons, but there's the 13 signal, there's the resistance, and boom, right? So DYDX may have done its run, right? I think you still want to keep track of what sectors are performing, even if the market goes down. Okay, so 4-hour XNO chart. Okay, so sort of a painful range filled with wicks between 92 cents and the bottom is 79. So you're in the middle of the range in XNO. Okay, looking at SNX. Okay, so Soli Sol is reminding me, don't forget 3 billion of Bitcoin from Mt. Gox to hit the market in August. Okay, that's true, right? Or if it is true, I'm wondering if they price all that in early, right? Or they just let it hit the market, right? So SNX on a 4-hour chart looks range bound. Let's see if we can take a bigger picture and look at SNX weekly. So if you look at this, right, let's take out the sequential. Oh, no, let's keep the sequential. Whoops. All right, let me put, okay, let's do it this way first. If you look at SNX, right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, right? And this is actually where the rally started. I remember when we launched our quant grade, this is actually lower than where synthetics was when we started, right? We started looking right here at around 4, went up all the way down, and we're at the 2020 lows. Now, I guess if synthetics was going to go to 0, that would have happened already. So can this market go lower? Yes, it can, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum, yeah, I don't know. They don't have support. But when I look at some of these things, if synthetics is any good or anything in the derivative space is any good. So maybe synthetics was the early adopter, right? And then someone else in the space wins, okay? ICP. Okay, so here's the thing about ICP, right? You have the 13 bottom, right? But then it goes up, and this is a wave 4. So there's probably going to be a new low. I'm guessing that's 366. So if you're long this, you got to ask yourself, can you tolerate that? Okay, if you can, then 366 may wind up being the buy point if the whole market falls apart, which seems likely, right? And I know it's shocking to hear me talking like this. Like, is Bill actually talking about the market not going to 0 for once? Yes, I am. Talking about the market going down sharply. I'm talking about the possibility of being there when it happens. So QNT, really nice rally from 45 to 95. Undoubtedly, the market discovering, alternative payment systems. You just have to be really careful. There's a 9 top here, and this also looks like, an ABC correction, right? But this 0 might indicate that the count might be 1, 2, 3. So, QNT's got some resistance. Let's see what the weekly chart looks like. When I look at some of these altcoins, it's actually really hard to be negative. I know Bitcoin and Ethereum can go down, but some of this stuff wants to go up. Like some of these altcoins, they actually want to go up. Now, I know that's another shocker, right? Because I'm always like, GTFO, don't get killed. And that still stands. Don't get killed. But some of this stuff is actually trying to bottom. It is. And if there's one more destruction derby in the market, some of this stuff is a buy, right? right? Luis, welcome from New York City. Welcome. Okay, somebody says when pivot. Okay, when pivot, all right, when pivot means after the inflation number, after the Fed talks tough. So what they do is they talk tough and maybe they acknowledge economic weakness. That's the pivot, right? If they acknowledge that they're starting to see a slowdown in demand. As soon as you hear that in a press conference from the Fed, or God forbid, you see like a lower inflation number, right? Like maybe the low is Thursday. See, I don't know. That part I can't predict. I can't predict the number. What I can predict is if the market goes down, if there's a final thrust lower, then I think, you want to be long the market. And somebody's saying, hey, I told you it was 19K. Maybe that's true. If you look at this chart, I just looked at this QNT chart. All right. That actually may be true, right? When you look at like Bitcoin monthly, I'm sorry, not monthly, right? The monthly chart still looks terrible, but Bitcoin monthly, has this month and then next month will be the 9 bottom. So August will be the 9 bottom. The only question is, will they have to wreck it first in order for that 9 bottom to be in? But somewhere between now and say, I don't know, August, I think there's going to be like a big local low, or it could actually be a real bottom if the Fed pivots. So I can't, and when you get like, it was like trying to predict the top, right? Like, on this monthly chart, everybody thought 60 was the top, it crashed, and then it made a new high, right? This was impossible to pick a top. Now, if you had the DeMark work, right? DeMark has something called combo along with sequential. Okay, the combo indicator gave you the 13 right at the top. Just like it'll probably give you the 9 right at the bottom. I was assuming Rectember, and I'm starting to change my mind about that, wondering, right, if September could actually be an up month, and whatever calamity is going to happen will happen in the summer. Okay. The bottom line is, I want you to be there. I want you to be there. Okay. I want you to be there when the market goes down. Okay. Someone was asking for AVAX. Let me not do it on the Bitcoin monthly chart. Okay. So I guess when it comes to these altcoins, the question is, where's the buy zone? Now that's tough, right? Because some of this stuff is very speculative. Now, AVAX would indicate that there'd be 2 more down days for a 13 bottom on the daily chart. Okay. So, if it's down, 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 an avalanche off CPI, you're going to get a 13 bottom. So this goes along with what I'm saying, right? If this thing gets killed off inflation in the Fed, right, it may be the buy point. Now, that said, the ETH merge is almost here. Yes, that could be good and bad, because ETH will come out of staking. I don't know if people that staked ETH at 3,500 will puke it at 850, but they might. They might. So you don't know where the selling pressure is going to come from. So this is Solana, right? And this is a slightly more sober look, right? So here's the 3-wave down. Here's the 4-wave up. And there should be a final low in Solana below 24. So this looks a lot like ETH, right? Or Bitcoin, where you're just looking for that final heave, right? And if you get it, right, we're in the opposite now of sell in May and go away. It's the opposite, right? It was sell in May, protect your capital, and go away. For what? For now, right? Okay, what if they push the ETH merge back? That I don't know. Will there be a crash to 12K? Okay, so good question from Sunith. Picking the absolute bottom of anything, particularly when you have a liquidation panic, right? Like trying to pick the bottom in 2008 was impossible. The fact of the matter is entities are bankrupt and they're going to have to sell something. Maybe it's ETH, maybe it's Bitcoin. So I've heard people say, you know, if you get 12 or 13K Bitcoin, that's Christmas. That's a present from Santa. Okay. I'm thinking more along the lines of 16 or 14 for the short term, and then a really big rally, and we reevaluate from there. But you got to remember, you know, again, what's the world going to look like if Solana and ETH are making new lows? It's not going to be pretty. So that's why I want to start putting this stuff in your head now. Okay. Jonathan rightly says Polkadot has been forgotten about since 2021. And that's true, man. I don't know how everybody talks. I say this every stream, right? How is everybody talking about Web3 and not talking about Polkadot? Now, this Polkadot weekly chart shows no sign of bottoming, right? It just doesn't, right? It looks like it's just going to continue to go lower. All right, let's go to the monthly chart. Okay, so the monthly chart, you know, August will be the 8. I'm sorry, July will be the 8 and August will be the 9, right? So there's a bottom coming, I think, I hope, in say the next 30 days. Somewhere in here, maybe it's Thursday, right? Maybe it's later in July, right? I'm kind of hoping there's a bottom in here somewhere. All right. All right. So Crypto Matthew says, I'm looking for 350 Polkadot, which is reasonable, right? If ETH makes new low, that's what's going to happen. Okay. So let's sum it up. Inflation is terrible. The Fed is going to stay on inflation as long as it's bad. The longer the Fed stays on inflation by tightening, the weaker the economy gets, the lower oil goes, the more layoffs there are. Okay? Eventually, that's going to create a pivot by either the Fed or the market's just going to do the pivot for them. All right. Now, that's nice, but what happens before that? Well, there could be a big avalanche lower in crypto off anything from liquidation news to a bad CPI number to a Fed that talks tough. That's all in the next 10 days. So look out below. But if the market goes down, stops at 18K or whatever, or if the market goes down on bad news and comes back. So ironically, we've come full circle, right? It used to be beware the failed rally. Now it's cheer for the failed decline, right? Because if they buy the market, if they buy crypto on bad news, whether that's 19, 18, or 16, or 19, 18, I'm sorry, 18, 16, 14, whatever that looks like, it'll look horrible, trust me. You can sit here and go, oh yeah, I definitely want to buy at 14. The world will be on fire if that's what's going on, right? But you want to see it go down on bad news and then come back, right? And when it comes back from one of those levels, you want to be DCAing, and then when it comes back, go with it, right? The final decline may be at hand in crypto, and I'm changing my view and crossing my fingers and crossing myself that the wreckage of Rectember actually occurs now, right? The world on fire is the best bet, right? And if that's the best bet, that's great because that's going to create a buying opportunity, all right? Just want you to not get wrecked in that final downdraft because that final downdraft, if it occurs, it will be ugly, all right? All right, folks, that's it for today. I'm your host, Bill Noble from Token Metrics. I will see you tomorrow.